Story 1. Masturbating roommate who never washes his bed sheets. I am a freshman and have had one roommate. He was the worst roommate I could have imagined. Here's some fun facts about him. The only time he ever changed his sheets was a month into fall semester, when a drunk guy shit in his bed. We shared a bunk bed, I was on the top bunk, and maybe 2 to 3 times a week he would masturbate, while I was trying to sleep, which would shake the bed. When he was done he would literally nut on his sheets, which he never washed. He played Call of Duty a lot at night. This wouldn't have been an issue for me, if he didn't have the world's brightest 40-inch OLED TV. He also talked really loud on voice chat about how much the game sucked, and how everything was unfair if he got killed. He went home every weekend, so that his mom could do his laundry, excluding his sheets. His mom drove him both ways every week. He did this to save money. Over the course of one semester he gained so much weight that he started snoring. Yay me. He would eat in bed every night. Usually it was Cheerios which he would spill all over the floor and not clean up. Sometimes it was Oreos, in which case he would loudly open a pack of Oreos every 10 to 15 minutes. He would wash this down by drinking directly from a gallon jug of red Hawaiian punch. He drank probably 2 gallons every week. He would also fall asleep with Tootsie Pops in his mouth and drool colorfully all over his pillow. Story 1 continued. Not once did he brush his teeth after eating in bed. He said you only need to brush your teeth once a day, and in the morning, to get rid of morning breath. I pointed out that he might not have morning breath if he brushed his teeth before going to bed. Despite sleeping on cum sheets, he was a real heckler about where he pooped. He said the bathroom on our floor was not up to his standards, so literally every time he had to poop, he would walk across the street to another building. Twice in the whole year I observed him leaving to take a shower. My assumption is that he showered when he went home every weekend. Sometimes he would play tennis with me and my friends. If he lost a game he would either rage quit or hit the ball as hard as he could and try to hit his opponent. I seriously wish I was making this up. He is the crustiest man I have ever known, and with any luck I won't meet anyone to break his record. Whoever I tried to very respectfully ask him to change some of these habits, he would get really defensive and hold a grudge against me for a few days. Story 2. Roommate offered to have sex with me. Hi everyone, would appreciate some perspective on a situation with one of my roommates. Have actually posted in here before about the same roommate and him burning himself in the shower and seeking advice on it. This roommate, 40 male, has the room directly next to mine, 29 female. Sorry for the length. He has still been doing the weird burning shower routine thing he's been doing in the past, and I tried to ask him about it the other day, while we were both in the kitchen. I really can't stand him, but was trying to be nice to him and non-judgmental. After about 7 minutes, and me ready to walk away, he says his semi-long-distance girlfriend just broke up with him. I feel bad, and try to say I'm sorry blah blah blah, give advice, and he blurts out how he was mostly just looking forward to the sex anyway. When she was here 2 months ago for a week they had loud sex like 3 times a day, every day, heard every bit of it. I tell him find some other girl to casually fuck, or something like that, I don't know, and we both agree as adults it's okay to have casual sex with people, comparing stories etc. for a few minutes. But then he tells me I actually used to fuck a girl who lived in your room for like 6 months. She would just knock and be like, come on, I wanna fuck. It was awesome. Definitely made me feel a bit weird. Had already told me in the middle of this whole convos that my hair looked cute that day. After that shit I felt weird and started to finish washing my utensils when he basically offers the same situation to me. I'm grossed out and go back to my room. Story 2 continued. He lives like a fucking slob and chain smokes all day in his room and literally has no cleaning habits. He barely washes his dishes, and I almost fucking puked the other day when I found his dirty pants in the kitchen on a stool with skid marks on them. I'm like offended he would even think I would ever consider that. I still haven't replied, and it's been 4 days. The next night, after me staying in my room mostly, my best friend and I cook something in the kitchen at 1:15 a.m. We're night owls, and 5 minutes into it, he comes out to start washing his dishes. My friend, seeing I'm visibly upset, starts talking about a middle school math teacher specifically, so he doesn't butt in. He tries to anyway, and it seems so pathetic. I ask my friend if they'll finish cooking, because I literally can't be in the same room. He had the entire day to clean up his dishes that has been in the sink for 2 days. But he chose that exact moment to come out and be weird, even after I hadn't responded to him. He actually does this a lot while come in the kitchen when he hears me open my door. But I figured a lack of a response would deter him this time. Story 2 continued. I checked my phone an hour later and noticed he said to me, "Also completely serious, if you feel like getting laid, just shoot me a text. Or hell, just knock." I'm disgusted by this for several reasons. I find him repulsive. Am I crazy to be upset about this? Does having a mature adult convo about friends with benefits warrant a text like that? This is my worst nightmare, literally. I used to have sleep paralysis nightmares of him standing in my doorway just staring at me. I just feel so uncomfortable and disgusted now. Did I give off the wrong signs? I've never tried to flirt with him, only friendly convos in a common area. Thank you for reading. Edit. Update. Thank you all for the responses. I appreciate it because I have always carried around a blanket of guilt for things I shouldn't feel guilty about, and it gets easier to not do this when I share something like this with you guys for advice. So thank you. I'll be texting him tomorrow when I'm at work. Story 3. My roommate stole my underwear and had sex with random guys. She stole my underwear. She was at least 4 sizes larger than me. Gave her boyfriend a key to our apartment, and he would stay there 6 nights a week and not contribute to rent. On the night her boyfriend was not there, she would bring random guys home and cheat on her boyfriend with them, loudly. Then complain. I never took out the trash because I found it pointless to do it once a day when there was maybe 3 things in it, would put dead stink bugs in my coffee water tank. And when she moved out, locked her bedroom door and left her sink running for 3 days, until I was finally able to get it open to find her bathroom flooded. She also talked so much shit about me to my boss at the time, who happened to be a family friend of hers. I had no choice but to quit to find a better job because she cut my hours. What a gem. Story 4. My roommate was murdered by a prostitute. I was renting a room in Queens in a 2-bedroom in Jamaica. I lived there about 18 months. Went on a summer trip to Europe and came back to the place being taped off with police tape. I called the police and was told to come in for questioning. Turned out the guy I was renting from was stabbed to death by a prostitute while I was away. Luckily I had photos, stamped passport, and flight info that proved I was out of town. I moved out shortly after they solved the case, and I was allowed to get my stuff. Story 5. Roommate keeps trash in her closet and dirty dishes in her desk drawers. A housemate of mine was bizarre. I lived in the room next door in a 6-person apartment. The other girl is pretty quiet and seems respectful, but as the year moved along there were certain odd things. After bonding night out to the local club, she and some of the other girls tried to Uber back, but she had way too much to drink and ended up in the hospital. More noticeable was that she would finish eating food and store dirty dishes away in her desk drawers. She would also have a trash bag inside of her closet. Rooms were shared between 2 people, so the other roommate was absolutely confused by the smell, since she could not fathom that there was trash in the same place they keep clothing. One day, roommate got so fed up she started snooping, hence why we know where she kept all the garbage. It wasn't like paper scraps, but food waste, so it smelled bad after a few days. During that snooping session, she also found a BB gun. That was kind of terrifying as she never told anyone that she had a weapon, and it was the only thing in one of her drawers. As in, she had a designated empty space for it and it alone. It was more a creepy nightmare than the super dramatic kind. Story 6. Roommate accused me of abusing her to cover for her boyfriend. Lived with 2 very bogan girls for about 4 months. Went away on tour for a few weeks, came back to find the house trashed, all their stuff gone, and most of my kitchen appliances missing as well. They still owed about $600 in rent between them as well. 4 years later I'm at a pub with some friends, and this big footballer type dude I'd never met comes up to me and grabs me by the neck, yelling about how I used to hit his sister. Turns out he was the brother of one of the girls that did a runner. And before she moved out, she'd been showing up at home with the occasional black eye and bruises from her new boyfriend. But, so her family wouldn't hate her new man that was touching her up, she told them it was me. I eventually settled it out with the brother and he apologized. Turns out when I was away on tour, he and his footy team all showed up to the house and were planning to belt me up. When I wasn't there they decided to trash the house and steal a bunch of my stuff. Edit. If you want great stories about bad share housing experiences, read the books He Died with a Falafel in His Hand. Tasmanian Babes Fiasco by John Birmingham. Story 7. Roommates release me from the lease then expects me to pay rent. Back when I lived in DC, a girl moved in with me I found on Craigslist. She seemed normal, and the first few months were fine. I got a new job and had to move out, so she released me from the lease and said she'd find a new roommate to replace me. I move out in 6 months. Later she starts calling me and asking for rent money. She never found a new roommate and was facing eviction because she owed close to $8,000 in back rent. Well, the emails, phone calls, texts, etc. became a daily occurrence, and she was threatening to sue me for all the unpaid rent. Eventually she was relentless, and I had to block her on every level I could think of, and had to get a restraining order prohibiting her from contacting me. I talked to my attorney and was assured I did everything the right way when I moved out, and the fact that she signed a roommate release addendum to the lease exonerated me of all the financial responsibility. All I'm saying is make sure you cross all your T's and dot all the I's so you can cover your ass in case anything happens. You don't want to be on the hook for anything if you move out.